Thank you very much. Is everyone having a good time and very informative day today? So I just want to say, anybody who's here who is not a member of BZD, please join us so that we can continue to bring this kind of programming to the community. I have one programming note. After our next speaker, we will have a short break. Then there'll be the Q&A session, and then our keynote speaker. Okay? I'm very pleased today to introduce Dr. Rachel Ehrenfeld, who's the director of the American Center for Democracy, the Economic and Warfare Institute. She'll be speaking to us this morning on the threat posed by the Muslim Brotherhood to regional stability. Please welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I expected more sunshine in Baltimore because it's a little bit more to the south. I just came from New York. The sun is shining, and it's a little bit different here. But it's nice to be here. The Muslim Brotherhood, only this morning, we read in the news, or we heard in the news, that they just formed, they announced officially that they formed the Freedom and Justice Party in Egypt, officially. And interestingly enough, at the same time, we see some news that the United States is funding the movement or Party for Development and Justice in Syria, which is the Syrian version of the Muslim Brotherhood. It will not take very long. I don't know, actually, if we are not already doing it. Probably the United States, have done it before. Support of the Muslim Brotherhood is officially will probably be growing. Who are the Muslim Brotherhood? You have read and heard a lot about it recently. I'll just give you a very brief overview. The Muslim Brotherhood origins were before Hassan al-Banna and Yusuf Qutb his disciple had actually came out with the new agenda, and Hassan al-Banna was the one who named the group Muslim Brotherhood. This was the forming the political movement of Islam. This was the forming of political Islam as we know it today. They had some other groups before in Egypt, some Salafis, but also in Pakistan and in India, or it was India, Pakistan. And the movement officially, as I said, was put together in March of 1928. The political movement was put together. Can you hear me? Now, okay. The political movement was put together, political Islam, in order to enable Islam, fundamentalist Islam, to grow and spread throughout the world. And, well, they had Islam all over before. Why this political movement? This political movement was created also to provide the economic means and the political tools, modern tools, in order to the radical fundamentalist Muslims to be able to get involved and influence more the other secular countries and the modern world that was emerging. And initially, Hassan al-Banna and Qutb have used modern technology. At the time, they started to use radio very early on. and publications in order to spread their words. They realized very early that they need excellent communications in order to be able to reach as many people as possible to influence them. They also understood very early on that what they need is money. Financial and economic underpinning or frame that will help them to independently move forward and influence and conquer as many new communities and people as possible. So initially, Hassan al-Banna wanted to use modern tools in order to reform Muslims. He was talking about more equality to women, etc. Qutb, who came after him, was not such a reformist. And he managed, because he was the one who actually wrote everything down, and he was very prolific. What he recommended was actually no such thing. He was virulently anti-American. He studied here in the United States. He studied engineering in Colorado. Apparently was, disappointed, offended by an American young woman. And I guess he held a grudge against the United States for the rest of his life. But there was more to it than that. Today, so that you will not have any illusions, today, this statement was made just about a month ago, even less, by the current leader, the former leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. And by the way, the leadership of the Muslim Brotherhood is in Egypt. The headquarters are in Cairo, in Egypt. And everybody, the supreme leader of the Muslim Brotherhood is the leader that everybody refers to and defers to. This is how the system works. He said, the Muslim Brotherhood is an all-encompassing Islamic organization calling for the adoption of the great religion that Allah gave in His mercy to humanity. We are in the global arena, and we preach for Allah according to the guidelines of the Muslim Brotherhood, not the guidelines of the Quran, even, according to the guidelines of the Muslim Brotherhood. All members of the Muslim Brotherhood in the international arena operate according to a written charter that states that jihad is the only way to achieve these goals. And by jihad, it doesn't mean doing some, mitzvot. Jihad is war. Ours is the largest organization in the world, he said. A Muslim in the international arena who believes in the charter of the Muslim Brotherhood, who thinks like us, is considered part of us, even if he is not a card-carrying member. And we are considered part of him. The Muslim Brotherhood is a secretive organization, although it is gaining much more publicity now. We know who the top leadership, who are in the top leadership. The groups are still operating secretively. They have been operating like that since their inception. There are very specific instructions of how cells are working. The cells are made of 5 members. And they are all reporting to a regional organizer, and everybody is reporting back to headquarters in Cairo. Even today, there aren't too many members, but the members recruit other people. There are different levels of participation in it. And as Akif has said, everybody who thinks like us is one of us. Unfortunately, too many think like them. So They have really spread now they are operating in some 80 countries according to their own account. And not necessarily, there aren't 80 Muslim countries, but the Muslim population is growing very rapidly everywhere. I was in Denmark about a month ago, and I was surprised. I knew that they have problems. I knew that they have problems in Sweden as well, but I didn't know how rapid is the conversion rate of Danes, of very, very bored Danes that have drunk, have tried out drugs, really very, very bored. And so they are looking for some thrill, for something new. And that new way of life is presented to them as jihad. And they join the mosques. Many join the mosques. I was there was a huge demonstration in out in the big city square. And I don't know if you know Copenhagen, it was a huge square. And it was a demonstration started 9 o'clock in the morning with orchestra and very, very loud speakers and music. And the demonstration was of Muslims with the green flags, and of communists with the red flags. And they were all demonstrating against the United States and Israel. It was very interesting to watch in Copenhagen. But it went on until 11 o'clock at night, when the police said, okay, enough with the noise, but they stayed there until next morning. Unfortunately, I was at the hotel in the corner, so I know how long it took. And Israel is being, I have been to Copenhagen, to Denmark many times before. I have not everybody liked Israel, but the animosity towards Israel, and to a large extent to Jews, is growing and growing rapidly. Not pleasant. The Muslim Brotherhood today, although we saw all these popular uprising first in Tunisia, then in Egypt, and then in different places, still going on. I've seen many Arab demonstrations I had never seen, and I'm not the only observer who says that, such well-organized, quiet demonstrations. There was relatively very little violence. Besides raping a reporter for CNN or something that they thought she's a Jewish. She's a Jew. But it was the most orderly demonstration I'd ever seen in any Arab country. And interestingly enough, the people who were demonstrating, there are 20 million people in Cairo. The people who were demonstrating in Tahrir Square were all well-dressed. They looked middle class. This was not the usual population that you see demonstrating. Who are they? The New York Times actually had an interview with one of them, and he said, he was asked, why did you come to demonstrate? And he said, because he received a phone call from Tunisia to go and demonstrate, and take his friends and his family with him. That's why he went. Well, interesting. Moreover, they had supplies, they had tents, they had everything was very well organized. They were bussed in. All this costs money. So they started to say, we organized it. And interestingly enough, also the Communist Party, which everybody thought was dead in Egypt, came out about 2 weeks ago, with an announcement that, we've been underground all this time. Nasser couldn't do us in. And we are very big all over Egypt, And we held the Muslim Brotherhood with the organization of this popular uprising. Well, both the Muslim Brotherhood and the communists are the ones who are running the unions. A little bit forward to Hamas. Today in Alexandria, the youth again had called for Muslim Brotherhood for a million march demonstration in support of the Palestinian people. And the military government in Egypt now is also making all kinds of statements against Israel. And it doesn't look like this will bring a lot of peace and stability to the region. The Hamas has been active. Gaddafi thought that he did away with the Muslim Brotherhood. He was wrong. They are operating there too. And it's not only the Muslim Brotherhood, the reformists, it's also the Muslim Brotherhood who has some Salafi members with Al-Qaeda. Also today, the Mash'al, Hamas headquarters and Islamic Jihad will move from Damascus to Cairo. At Cairo and also to Doha, to Qatar. Qatar didn't want to accept the military wing of Hamas. Hamas is the Muslim, the Egyptian chapter, the Palestinian chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar didn't want to accept the military, quote, arm of Hamas. So the political arm will go to Doha, and the military arm will be in Egypt. And it's interesting that Egypt, who is supposedly friendly with Israel, is letting Hamas military arm to be there. The whole distinction is artificial, of course, as you know. The threat of the Muslim Brotherhood in this country is also growing because of the false reporting on them. Now, to say that the Muslim Brotherhood, and you've read a lot in blogs and in pro-Israel and anti-terrorism publications, that the Muslim Brotherhood, yeah, they want jihad and they support jihad. However, it's important to remember that they have evolved and they have changed their tactics. They use violence when they deem it necessary, but they have moved more and more to the use of funds, to the use of money, in order to corrupt the West. Early on, they used a lot of Saudi money, and now they have businesses, very profitable businesses all over the world, and they have member dues as well. They receive also help from directly, indirectly from Iran and from the Saudis. It's interesting how they evolved, and they have made all kinds of inroads in the United States. So you end up with the head of the CIA testifying before Congress and saying, "Well, no, they are a reformist party." Not a very good news. What is important to convey here for Jews and for Christians and every American who wants to stay free and keep our liberties intact is to make sure that the leadership, that the representative learn more about the Muslim Brotherhood and find out that they don't mean peace. And when they say Islamic democracy, it's an oxymoron. So that's really what we have to do. I have written a lot about this, and I'm working now on a new book on the Muslim Brotherhood, Inc., documenting their finances. I think I've asked for a for article about them. Okay, so if you want to read more about it, you can, and I'll be glad to answer your questions later. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. We're going to take a 5-minute break. There should be some drinks in the corner and some